Underneath the bright lights of the boxing ring, beyond the roar of the crowd and the snap of gloves meeting flesh, lies something older than the sport itself. It is ancient, primal, and visceral, an emotion born in the deepest corners of the human psyche. Fear. Not just the jittery anticipation before a fight or the anxiety of performance under pressure, but a bone-deep, soul-gnawing fear. The kind that whispers before it screams. The kind that crawls out from the darkened edges of a person's mind and wraps itself around their heartbeat, tightening with every passing second. This fear is not loud. It does not announce itself with flair or bravado. It stalks quietly, waiting, watching, until the moment it's unleashed. And when it is, it no longer exists as an idea or a feeling. It becomes real, tangible, a presence, a person. And in the modern world of professional boxing, one such figure has emerged, a fighter who embodies that very transformation. He is known by a name that says it all. They call him the Monster. But to truly understand why fear has a face and a name in today's ring, we must start not in the squared circle but in a small city halfway across the world. Zama, Japan, is not a place that shouts for attention. It rests in the Kanagawa Prefecture, a city brushed by the traditions of old Japan and the pace of modern life. Streets wind with the precision of discipline, buildings stand in quiet harmony, and beneath it all is a current of legacy that is easy to overlook but impossible to deny. It was here, surrounded by whispers of samurai history and the discipline of warriors past, that a child was born into a legacy carved not in stone, but in bone and blood. Naoya Inoue was never meant to be ordinary. From the beginning, he was bound to a path not of convenience, but of calling. His father, Shingo Inoue, was himself a boxer, a man tempered by discipline, driven by dreams, and shaped by the brutal honesty of the sport. And it was under his strict and unwavering guidance that young Naoya took his first steps, not just into the world, but into the ring. Unlike many stories of champions forged by hardship or saved by sport, Inoue's tale is one of inheritance. His upbringing was not marked by chaos but by control. The gym wasn't a sanctuary, it was a forge. There were no dramatic fall-and-rise arcs, no tear-filled promises of redemption. There was simply repetition, expectation, and discipline. From an early age, he was drilled not only in the movements of boxing but also in the mindset. There was no indulgence in emotion, no tolerance for ego. The Inoue household, and more specifically the dojo his father ran, became a crucible of quiet intensity. Technique was king, respect was law, and toughness, real toughness, not the theatrical kind, was mandatory. This father-son relationship was not soft. It was purposeful, surgical. Shingo Inoue was not a man of loud praise or dramatic expressions. His voice was the metronome by which Naoya trained, a steady rhythm of expectation and demand. In many other cultures, such strictness might have sparked rebellion. But in Japan, where familial duty and silent loyalty often outweigh personal desire, Naoya did not resist. He absorbed. He listened. He adapted. He did not become his father's son by genetics alone. He became him by ritual, by patience, and by submission to the craft. The dojo became an extension of his identity. Pain became familiar. Effort became instinct. And slowly, quietly, the boy turned into something else, something more. By the time he stepped into his first professional fight, Inoue was already a phantom of potential whispered about in Japanese boxing circles. His amateur record gleamed, 75 wins and only 6 losses, but stats alone couldn't capture what he was becoming. It was in the ring where he truly revealed himself. His movements were sharp, precise, and impossibly fast. His punches carried not just force, but a timing so uncanny it seemed to predict rather than react. And most chilling of all, he didn't smile. He didn't gloat. He didn't even blink. He dismantled. And he did it with a silence that unsettled opponents more than any roar ever could. Inoue's first professional year was a prelude to violence. He fought Chris Omayo, a tough Filipino veteran, and erased him with chilling ease. Then came Yawajin Chwatana. Another name, another body dropped. Yuki Sano followed, a top-ranked Japanese fighter. 10th round knockout. That same year, Inoue seized the Japanese light flyweight title. He didn't defend it long. He had bigger prey in sight. His next step? The OPBF title, and he took it with a 5th-round TKO over Filipino contender Jerson Mancio. These weren't just wins. They were declarations. Each bout was a message, loud in execution though quiet in delivery. This is no ordinary boxer. Then came the first world title, Adrian Hernandez, a former world champion, a man with credentials, confidence, and plans. But plans mean nothing to a storm. In April 2014, Inoue met him in the ring for the WBC Light Flyweight Championship, and what followed was surgical destruction. Hernandez was dropped in the 6th round and could not rise with hope. Inoue had arrived, not just as a contender but as a destroyer. From that moment on, the belt around his waist wasn't just leather and gold. It was a warning. What followed was not a defensive title but an expansion of empire. Inoue moved up. He captured the WBC junior bantamweight title from Omar Nino in just 2 rounds. 7 successful defenses followed, each more decisive than the last. But Japan was only the beginning. In 2018, the world stage called. And with IB at the World Boxing Super Series, a grand tournament that pitted the best against the best, a proving ground. And in that arena, Inoue did not just prove, he was punished. His WBA bantamweight debut was against Jamie McDonnell, a tough British champion. It lasted less than a round. A single body shot dropped McDonnell. He rose only to be swarmed with a sequence so violent it looked like slow-motion murder. Then came Juan Carlos Payano in the tournament semifinals. Payano was undefeated, technically gifted, and a southpaw puzzle. But puzzles are only dangerous if given time. Inoue didn't. A thunderous right in the first round folded Payano like paper. 1 punch, 1 round, and silence. The boxing world began to murmur. Who was this man? This stoic, quiet, almost diminutive Japanese fighter who didn't speak with arrogance but fought like vengeance made flesh. He didn't seek headlines, but headlines sought him. Ring magazine featured him solo on its cover, rare for a non-Western fighter, unprecedented for a Japanese bantamweight. But he was no longer just a Japanese phenomenon. He was something, an apex predator with gloves. In the finals of the tournament, he faced Emmanuel Rodriguez, another undefeated champion, another man full of confidence. In the pre-fight media circus, Rodriguez's trainer disrespected Inoue's father, physically shoved him. Inoue did not respond with words. He didn't need to. He saved everything for the ring. And once again, it didn't last long. In the 2nd round, Inoue dropped Rodriguez 3 times. The fight was over before most fans had found their seats. It wasn't just a win, it was a public execution of hype, a confirmation that this monster nickname wasn't hyperbole. It was understatement, but greatness needs challenge. And the next challenge was not just great, it was mythic. Nonito Donaire, the Filipino Flash, a 4-division world champion, a fighter whose resume stretched back decades. Fast, powerful, experienced. And unlike Inoue's previous foes, Donaire didn't just survive, he fought. In their 2019 clash, sparks flew from the first bell. Donaire landed early, hard, and effectively. In round 2, a vicious counter shattered Inoue's orbital bone. He fought with double vision from that point on. But he didn't break. He adapted. He bit down. And across 12 rounds, both men waged war unlike anything seen in modern bantamweight history. It was not just a contest of skill, but of heart, of spirit, of will. Inoue bled, staggered, and persisted. And in round 11, he answered with a body shot that dropped Donaire to his knees. The final bell rang, and the world had seen it. A monster with a human heart. A warrior with a code. What followed revealed just as much about Inoue as the fight itself. Donaire's children had come to see their father, and hoped he would bring home the Muhammad Ali trophy. He didn't. But Inoue, having won it, gave it to them anyway. A gesture of respect, of honor, and of the kind of grace that cannot be taught. It cemented him not just as a champion, but as a man worthy of reverence. But the story doesn't end with a belt or a trophy. Champions fade. Legends evolve. Inoue chose evolution. The pandemic disrupted everything, but not his focus. When the world stood still, he trained. When the noise faded, he sharpened. And when the world resumed, he stepped back into the ring, with a hunger undiminished. His next major challenge was Daniel Roman, a rugged, durable former unified champion. A man with experience, pride, and power. But against Inoue, pride fades. Roman fought well, but Inoue fought perfectly. Speed, timing, angles, every trait of an elite boxer converged into a masterclass. Roman didn't just lose, he was outclassed. Every punch from Inoue seemed measured in nanoseconds, delivered with the power of inevitability. There was no trash talk before, no gloating after, only precision, only dominance. And now, with every bout, Inoue walks further into a space few fighters ever enter. Not just greatness, but transcendence. He does not beg for attention. He does not flash wealth or bark challenges. He simply exists, and that existence is a gravitational force. It pulls opponents toward pain, fans toward awe, and the sport itself toward its primal origins. Inoue is not about image. He is essence. His fighting style blends tradition with innovation, the speed of a hawk, the power of a wrecking ball, the balance of a dancer. He is 5'5", 67-inch reach, physically unremarkable by elite boxing standards, but there is nothing average about his effect. He carries the grace of a samurai, the calm of a monk, and the destruction of a tempest. Every punch he throws feels like it was practiced 1,000 times, because it was. Every move he makes seems rehearsed by generations, because it was. What makes Inoue different is not just what he does, but how he does it. He doesn't chase chaos. He controls it. He doesn't seek validation. He earns it. He isn't just fighting opponents. He's fighting history and winning. His every bout echoes with legacy, not just of belts or accolades, but of spirit. The spirit of Zama, of Shingo, of generations whose blood ran in disciplined silence. This is what makes him terrifying. Not the knockouts, not the speed, but the inevitability, the sense, even before the first bell, that something ancient has stepped into the ring. Not a man, not a fighter, but a force. Something that doesn't yell, something that doesn't need to, because true fear doesn't announce itself. It arrives, quietly, precisely, with purpose, and its name is Naoya Inoue.